we're going to be showing you how to cut some aluminum up today. So welcome to another video from the Bergerac Designs. And I'm going to go over what we're doing here. We're making some, for the same boat, it's on the other videos where we made the camera rings. This is a different version. These are going to mount up to the overhead. There's going to be a bracket up, coming up, another top piece on the top where it holds the camera in place. And I'll show you what that's going to look like in a minute. But what I wanted to do is go over with you today. As you can see, we're outside and we're filming this out here because we're going to be cutting some aluminum with some routers. And a lot of people don't know that you can actually cut soft metal with the routers. So we're going to go over how that's done. It's basically just like woodworking. Just have to be a little bit more careful and have your jig and everything set up similar fashion. So using double-sided tape to hold these plates down on the jig of the size we want it to be. We have these water jetted out and they're a little oversized. I gave them the dimensions accordingly so that we can trim them in. The water jetting leaves it a little rough edge and that's not going to work for us. So the router is going to clean that up. What we're going to do is just set this up on here. I've a couple pieces of double-sided tape. It comes in a roll. Put another piece down as and such. Cut it inside the jig a little bit. And we're going to put our face side up. This is the side that we want to paint. So now I got the welding and the work, structural work will be done on the other side. And I'll show you the reason for that. So let me get this glued on, taped on, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm just going to finish taking the covering off the tape. We'll go ahead and install this on here. We want to be careful when you're putting it down. Make sure it's overlapping everywhere. You get it centered on the jig. Okay, now just for a precautionary, I'm just going to put a couple clamps in there. You don't have to go extremely tight, but we're not going to be routing on the inside right now, so we can have the clamps in accordingly. Now this is the, just using a standard router bit, the bearing on the bottom. It's the opposite of a template bit, because the bearing's at the bottom now. Cutters are at the top. So that's going to ride on the lower part of the jig, and we'll just cut it out exactly the size of the jig. So if the jig's off or not straight, the aluminum won't be either, but we're good with everything, so we're going to use that one. I'm going to do the outside and I'm going to go and do the inside. Again, when you're using a router, you probably don't want to use your $300 router. These are $20 from Harbor Freight. And you know, they work good enough for what we're doing. We keep these for junk work, and this is what I would consider junk work as far as damaging the router. Throw one of these away if it goes bad. They don't work real good, so I got tape on it holding it in place. But anyway, that's enough of an overview about the routers. Don't use your good router is my point. Use your hearing protection because it's louder cutting aluminum than it is when you're cutting regular wood. As you can see, that cuts it really nice, clean. Just take your time and go around. Again, you don't need a real fancy router to do this. Obviously, you can see the blowback from the machine, all the stuff's coming off. You can see why I'm doing it outside. It's a lot easier to clean up, wash down out here than it is to clean all this stuff up in the shop. So I'm going to give it another quick go around. Make sure it's nice and clean. Now what I do is shut the router off. I'll reverse my clamps to the outside. Even though it's more than likely not going to move at all. I like to put a little bit of this wax on when you're cutting. Go ahead and put it right on the router. Add a little to the inside. Helps it cut a little easier. Okay, both of those parts are done. Alright, now I'm using a 3/16 radius bit because I want to put a little profile on the edge of this part. Make it look nicer when it's up in the ceiling. It'll have a little radius. That's same thing. We're just going to use a woodworking tool, and because of the carbide, it'll cut the aluminum. Can't do this with high-speed steel bits, but who uses those anymore anyway? So we'll go ahead and turn it on, put a little wax on it. I'll go ahead and put a little wax on the part. We'll go ahead and run a router around the outside. Again, it doesn't hurt to put a little bit more wax on it. Save your bit. Okay, now that's basically a almost finished product. I'll show you when we go to sand it with the sandpaper and the DA. That's a nice finished part now. You can kind of get the idea from that edge. Now we'll go ahead and pop this off. And Shane's holding the camera that goes in there for me right now. Again, that you can see that double-sided tape holds really well. Just work it off nice and easy. Get it up a little bit. There you go. See, that does an excellent job of holding it. But again, I use the clamps to for a little bit of additional security. Now I'm going to gently put this on here so I don't scratch the globe. These cameras are about $2,000 a piece. And we're nice and tight. So you can see the fit on that, it's really good. And we'll go ahead and finish it up. And we got to make a bunch more of these pieces. Got 6 of them to do. We'll finish them all up like this and we'll go from there. So I hope you enjoyed this part of it. We'll show you more when as we progress along with the project.